Hello, Zach Daniels here, and I'm doing a little bit of score study in preparation for our upcoming concert, Musical Friends. And right now I'm actually taking a look at Tchaikovsky, 1812 Overture. And in particular, I'm thinking a lot about this opening page. And it's very interesting because for those that don't know, obviously, 1812 Overture, a lot of us are familiar at the end with with the whole orchestra playing, and it's, you know, very big and bombastic. You have the cannons, etc. However, this beginning sometimes gets overlooked because people just want to race to the end. But I think the beginning is one of the best parts because you actually have the theme that you hear at the end, but it starts right here. If we listen closely to the cellos. So you hear that, and it's the cellos, and it's actually 4 cellos, and we sort of let 2 violas grow out of them. It's actually very interesting what Tchaikovsky does here. He actually, if you even look on the page, he has the violas effectively grow out of the cello line there. So you'll know how the cellos play, and then the violas sort of grow out, but then they don't stay until here. And so for me, it's as if he's writing for one large hybrid instrument. And I think that's very interesting. It's a very beautiful theme that's meant to sort of represent the pre-battle town of the 1812 Overture is written for. Now, then you race ahead to the end. And the reason why I think it's so critical to get that part right is because right here at the end is where, this is where the big fanfare begins. And so on like that as we build and have string runs, etc. Now, what's also interesting here is not only do you have the introduction, you actually have the rest of it too. It's just split up over a much longer period of time and it's not quite repeated. And every time the brass comes in with that, it's followed by the strings doing a series of 16th and 32nd notes that make the performers hope that I don't go too fast there. But it's very interesting because really, we're starting and ending things very much together before we get to the actual finale of the piece. And it's incredible to listen for, and just listen for the orchestrational differences, because the first one is about as small as it gets, with 4 cellos and 2 violas. Whereas at the end, you've got most of the winds, all of the brass, additional band on top. For those that don't know, this is also written to have orchestra, chimes, the cannon, and of course a band sitting there playing on top of it. So it's a very large ensemble that they call for in this. Now, the other thing that I've been thinking about a lot in this is the little hymn tune that sort of happens in the middle. It happens a couple of times, and when it comes in, you'll recognize it's sort of the much slower theme that you run into. And so on like that. Now, that theme is very beautiful, and I like to try and slow it down there so we can really focus on it and really sit on it for a while. Because for me, yeah, the beginning's great, the ending's great. I love working with the brass to make that ending just right, and I love manipulating the percussion and the cannon in particular to sound just the way I want. But here, it's important to me that we sort of take this moment of, I consider it to be a bit of reflection as to what's happening with the battle itself. Because, of course, the first time we hear it, we've heard the French national anthem at the time come through and be heard the first couple times. And then here it's used actually as sort of a predecessor to this big descending line that we hear after this dance that we hear. Because we have this sort of hymn tune, then a dance, and then a big descending line with da 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 da, and it gets lower and lower and lower as we're drawn into this final fanfare with the really big bombastic coming in to sort of break free. And for me, creating the contrast between that hymn area and the pastoral theme and sort of the big fanfare of the French national anthem at the time. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I think it's really important to have the difference between those three themes. So listen for those themes on Tuesday's concert. I'll see you there for Musical Friends at 7:30 p.m. in the Ball Auditorium on Oklahoma Christian's campus. Tuesday night. Get your tickets now. OKOrchestra.org.